Anthony says, I feel like the more I listen to people talk about Drake Jackson, the more it sounds like a complete unknown. I'd be interested to hear your and Wayne thoughts on why someone who performed so well, we talked about it all year. I mean, he played well, but why, once he hit the rookie wall or whatever, but, you've got the added weight, you've got the excitement, you've got the belief in the 49ers trusting him. They didn't sign an edge, they didn't really draft a high end edge. What are your thoughts? Is he an unknown moving into 2023, his sophomore year?
I mean, I think that's a fair assessment, right? He hasn't played much. And I wouldn't mind using that term for the guys that haven't played much. Now, I will say this, he does show promise, right? And so for me, rookie season, Drake Jackson, he was utilized a certain way, and obviously he hit the rookie wall. But I still thought he could have been utilized. I don't think it was a complete shutdown for him. I think it was to where the coaches decided to kind of like put him on ice for the remainder of the season. Now, I know he's coming in heavier. I'm sure he's coming in stronger. But let me explain to you guys this one thing. Shout out to Uncle Scott, who's been a member of the Breezy's Bunch Club for over 7 months. Wow. Let me explain to you this one thing. He has not lost the bend. He has not lost his bend or the bend, whatever you want to say. And that's most important because that's what makes him the freakish athlete, right? You can't teach bend. It's like an innate thing that you're born with. It's a mutative ability. He's an X-Men. And so like the fact that he hasn't lost that is important. Why? Because he can still get down, get low, get around. He has that bend. Now, has he learned some other moves? That's the unknown. Is he going to be able to utilize his strength? That's the unknown. Like those are the things that we just don't know because we didn't get to see over 300 snaps, I believe.
315 to 315. Be exact.
Yeah. I meant should have said under 400, but yeah, that's what I mean. So like at the end of the day, like I can understand the frustration, but he wasn't drafted that high for like without a purpose. Like they're going to figure out how to utilize them. And I think personally for me, year 2 for Drake Jackson, and we usually see good year 2s from our players. It's weird because usually the sophomore slump steps in, not for Drake. And I think that's why they slowed that process down toward the end. He's going to come in with a crazy mindset, crazy burst of energy. And if that kid can stay healthy, oh my gosh, sky's the limit. And are we getting double-digit sacks? I mean, hold the horses on that. I don't think you need double-digit sacks. I think you want pressures and containment from Drake Jackson.
If we look at just his rookie year in summary, 315 snaps, he had 16 pressures, 4 sacks. This is PFS model, not so like if you get a half sack on PFF, that counts as a sack. He had 3 quarterback hits, 9 hurries, 5 batted passes. That's huge.
That's huge. Those are the things that you're not really accounted for in a game. You want to know how the Chiefs won the Super Bowl? Look at batted passes from Chris Jones.
Yep. He had 8 solo run stops and an interception. And it was interesting because he got that interception in the Vegas game, right? New Year's, we were there. They shut him down right after that. And
right.
A lot of that was a big reason why, like, if you go back to that Raiders game and Jared Stidham, the way he was able to break the pocket and stuff, they were like, no. We gotta change some things with Drake. Now, I want to go to the big man, Trent Williams, silverback.
Okay.
I played this clip before, but I think it's awesome. Whenever they asked about Drake Jackson, this is a quick 40-second clip of just Trent talking about all that he's done so far in the offseason.
I mean, when you look at the athleticism he has, the natural strength, I mean, to me, he looked like an all-pro. He looked like he has the stature to be an all-pro player. He looked like he has the want to. He's very studious. He's a student of the game. He's always asking questions, eager to learn. And to see that he actually took that and then, went and ate some weights this offseason and bulked up a little bit, I think it's only going to make him one of those playmakers that we need, on the other side of Nick. Keep everything even. He has that talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing some big things from him.
Ate some weights, baby. Ate some weights. Wayne did the opposite, man. You freaking, you got rid of some weights. which is awesome. But you look at sharp, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah. Look, when you get some type of praise, that's what I call that. Some type of constructive criticism from the GOAT that's playing football. I feel like Trent Williams is the best football player in the NFL. So when you getting that type of stuff coming from him, to me, it goes a long way. It does not the end all be all for Drake. I mean, he needs to take that and use that as fuel and continue to push to progress to get better and better and better. And I think, that's what he has. I think he has that gift. His father, his pops was a great guy, football guy, and I feel like Drake is just going to be that. He's going to continue to take strides and improving himself. Same thing you see with Nick Bosa. What the hell can Nick Bosa do anything better? Well, he goes and he figures it out, right? In the offseason. Goes back home, gets with his family, and they probably fine-tune and critique certain things. And no one's talking about Drake just even being in that room. We still talk about Drake, right? I could be off tangent. Okay. No one's even talking about him being in that room, just being the fly on the wall, asking those questions that Trent Williams just said. And so that's important for this young kid. And I think he came in, and remember this. The 49ers were struggling on the defensive line last year, so he probably got more work than what he should have gotten. 49ers have zero issues in allowing a player to sit in redshirt a year. Yep. Zero. And I think because of, Armstead getting hurt and a lot of things, just a lot of issues with the defensive line and the front and the rotation, they had to throw him in the fire. But once they had a solidified group, they decided to say, hey, you know what? Let's put this kid on ice and he'll come back next season and let's see what he can do to get better. And I think that's what Drake is doing. He comes from a great pedigree, and I think he's going to be just fine opposite Nick Bosa. And I already said, John, he's starting. He's going to be the starting defensive end. There's nobody on that team right now that's going to start over Drake Jackson unless there's an injury.
And it's similar to what we saw last year with the offensive line, right? Because you had these stalwarts.
Bingo.
And you put in these young second-year players like Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks and Drake Jackson are the same guys, just on opposite things. Second-round picks, high potential. Didn't do a lot their first year, the rookie year, but the Niners kind of bring that in. Now, I love this. Wood Gravy, awesome tag, by the way. He says, I think part of Drake getting shut down was a need for more interior defensive line, because in the past, the Niners would have 6 active edge guys and 5 active defensive tackles. They switched that halfway through the year. What are they going to do this year, Wayne?
Interesting, because they added Hargrave, right?
Right.
And so now you bolster up your front interior, and I think you go more edge this year. It's a gamble, but I think the Niners are great at supplementing or going out and finding pieces to fit the interior. And I know we struggled last year in the interior. It's so weird,
Not this
right?
year.
I don't think we're going to have that problem this year. And there's still free agents out there that are available. God forbid something happens or goes south for the Niners. There's guys that they could pick up. Yep. And so I think they go more edge this year. I think they're trying to create more of a pass rush with the ability from these other guys. Look, the secondary to me is better, and I think the front is better, and our linebackers are still top notch. I know he lost Ji'Ayir, but I still think your 2 linebackers, you can say you upgraded at the nickel because Jimmy Ward really wasn't a nickel, and now you're putting in a real nickel. So you might say you upgraded. Again, it's unknown. We haven't seen it work in the 49ers system. So I actually like what's going on. But I'm telling you, this pass rush is going to be a little different this year. You don't have too many tweeners, guys like maybe Ji'Ayir Hyder will be an inside-outside guy, but you don't have too many of those guys like you did last year. I mean, Charles Omenihu had to do it all last year. Ji'Ayir Hyder had to do it all last year. And I thought that took away from their pass rushing ability, even though I liked Omenihu better inside.
Yeah.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.